Good morning, I'm Faye Thompson. This morning we're going to do a bread pudding. We're going to spray a casserole with some Pam. Now we're going to use hamburger buns, and we're not going to cut them up very much. We're just going to chop them up a little bit. These hamburger buns are a couple of 3 days old. People have all kind of ideas about making bread pudding. I think there's more decisions and disagreements over a good bread pudding just about any recipe I know of. And I've tried a lot of them. And most of them I've tried been pretty good too. These buns is a package of 5-inch buns, and there's 8 of them in a package, so we're just gonna roughly break them up and put them in that pan, mash them down. We have 8 eggs, so I'm gonna put them in this bowl. I'll tell you what I could do better is put them in that one since I'm putting eggs first. Some of these eggs have double yolks. I like to buy the big jumbo eggs. Oh, we just want to mix those eggs up a little bit. 2½ cups of sugar. I'm gonna go ahead and mix that up too. 1 cup of butter. So there's ½ cup to a stick. We may have to use our mixer on this stuff because I left it out so it'd be room temperature, but and it's soft enough that the mixer will mix it up real good. I'm not sure a spoon would, so. Let's try to get all that butter out if we can. 4 cups of milk. 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract. Vanilla flavor seems to be more important in a bread pudding than most any other recipe. But, and if you'll notice, they usually use a little more. We're just going to mix this up good and make sure the butter and everything mixed in it good. What I find with a lot of bread puddings, sometimes they don't get enough sugar in it. It's like richness in dumplings and dressing and stuff. You may not like the sound of it if you're trying to diet, but they're not diet foods, you know. And if you want to make the very best, sometimes you have to use the rich foods to make them good. Our butter has gotten colder with that milk in it, kind of sitting on the top, but that won't make any difference. We're just going to pour this over this bread. If you're wondering what those lumps are, that's the butter. It got cool. It won't make any difference. It's going all in the same place anyway. Now, we poured a little half and half. It must have been about a cup because it looked like it was a little dry, and sometimes if you may get a little too much bread or something, and it'll be fine. The next step we're going to do, we took a spoon or 2 of sugar, 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I'm going to sprinkle this on top. You don't need much of this. Okay, we've got that now. And we're ready to put this in the oven. It's a 350-degree oven, and it cooks about 45 to 50 minutes. Now we're going to do our bourbon sauce for the bread pudding. And what I'm going to do, this makes quite a bit and I don't need that much. I'm going to half the recipe today. So we're going to use 4 eggs. It's real simple to make. And we're going to use a cup of butter. This calls for a pound, but we're making a half recipe, so I'm using a half pound. 2 sticks of butter is half a pound. Now I told you we're using a half a recipe on the sauce. This is 2 different recipes. I have 1 recipe for the bread pudding, and we used a full recipe today for that. But we're using a half a recipe on the sauce because it's like making dressing with giblet gravy. You don't use very much on the top of it, and most time you have too much. So I just half the recipe on the sauce. Okay, we're just going to mix all this stuff together. We've got powdered sugar, and we need 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And you need to use a good brand of bourbon too now. Use 1/4 cup is what you need for that. We're trying to get our butter and our sugar and everything mixed up, and we're going to have to heat it a little bit. So I'll use an electric mixer on it in a few minutes when the butter gets melted a little more. Our bread pudding is finished, and we made our bourbon sauce with it. What you do is when you get your bread pudding out in a serving plate, just put you a little bit of bourbon sauce on the top of it. And it's always good just before you serve it to warm this up a little bit. You don't want much, but just warm it up. I hope you make this, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we do. And I'll see you on another video. And thank you for watching.